What's up, everyone? I just checked out Total Recall from 1990, directed by Paul Verhoeven for the first time, so let's review it. Real quick, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of Total Recall. I'm certainly excited to review this movie as I just got a chance to check it out for the first time. And this will have some spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen it, you have been warned. Anyways, let's get right into it. So like I said, I just watched Total Recall for the first time. I'm a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies. I also love sci-fi movies. For whatever reason, this movie always just slipped under my radar. I've owned the 4K of it. I got that recently, so I finally got around to watching it. And this is kind of a thing I want to do more on my channel, is reviewing older movies, because I just think they're more fun to talk about. I prefer to talk about older movies. The majority of the movies I watch are older. Not like old movies, but like, movies that aren't coming out nowadays. So that's kind of something I want to do more on my channel. So I figured today I could sit down and review Total Recall, especially because I watched it for the first time, and that's kind of a fun concept to do. Anyways, so this movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime as he plays Doug Quaid, he's essentially just this like construction worker living on Earth in this like futuristic sci-fi. Essentially, he kind of has dreams of going to Mars, and he wants to go to Mars. Then he goes through this recall thing where he's able to implement dreams into his mind. Essentially, when he does that, something gets messed up, and we learn more about his past, and we kind of, throughout the movie, we learn who he is, and essentially he's getting hunted by people trying to prevent him from discovering the truth. And that's essentially the plot of the movie. It's a pretty complex plot, so it's not easy to summarize without, going too in-depth with it. Anyways, the main reason I wanted to review this movie is because I absolutely love this movie. Personally, I love sci-fi, I love 90s action, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and when you combine those three, I am sold. Arnold Schwarzenegger is my absolute favorite actor of all time. And I'm just, I can't believe I hadn't seen this movie before. It's a movie that I've always wanted to see as a child, and I never got around to it. But I just found this movie to be so incredible. It has this immersive sci-fi setting. Obviously, Paul Verhoeven's kind of known for his sci-fi work, but the setting is just awesome. I love like the Earth stuff, all the futuristic Earth stuff's really good. And then we go to Mars, and there's more sci-fi, stuff. Really, this is really like a hard sci-fi movie. Very futuristic, very, very sci-fi. It's the definition of sci-fi. It looks really good. A lot of the stuff holds up. I own the 4K, and let me say the 4K looks absolutely incredible. Just like these like Mars shots just looked absolutely phenomenal, and just pretty much most of the special effects hold up, despite it being in 1990. It looks like an incredible movie, so ahead of its time with the kind of sci-fi setup. It was very immersive in that setting. My favorite part of this movie is probably the action. It's very like 90s and very just awesome in general. And the 90s action is the best in my opinion. There's lots of blood and gore and broken necks, and it's very real, but it also feels very like movie based. Which I really enjoy that. If you know 90s action, you know what it looks like. It's very similar to Terminator 2 in a lot of ways with the action. It's just, and this movie's just wicked entertaining in general. But the action, every single time there's an action sequence, and there's a good amount of them, it just puts a smile on my face, especially like the revenge scenes, like when Arnold Schwarzenegger kills his wife, and then like the one-liner after, that's just honestly hilarious. And it's just like this whole movie just put a smile on my face, because it was such a blast to watch while still being in this like sci-fi setting and still kind of having a intriguing plot. It really mixes a number of genres very well, and the plot itself was just really good. I really enjoyed Arnold Schwarzenegger's character and kind of as we discovered his backstory. I enjoyed that arc, that aspect of the movie. I love like the mystery stuff in this movie. It's a really nice mix of kind of realistic sci-fi with just 90s action. It was a really nice blend of those two, and it came together just to make a really solid movie. Then another note on the positive for this movie is just going to be that Arnold Schwarzenegger is in it. He's my absolute favorite actor of all time. I love anything he's in, and I will watch anything he's in. And I can't believe I hadn't seen this before. It's such a good movie, and he's incredible in here. He's just like, he's not the best actor ever, obviously, he's not the greatest, but like when it comes to just entertaining in his screen presence, I don't think there's anyone better. And I just enjoy every second of him on screen. He gives a pretty good performance in here. You don't see him acting a lot in a lot of his movies. Usually like in Terminator, he's playing this kind of like void of emotion robot. Then a lot of his movies, he's just kind of the action guy. In this movie, he's kind of a normal human being. So you actually get to see him act quite a bit in here, and he's very enjoyable on screen. Like I said, he's just, in my opinion, he's the best. And he just makes this movie so much more enjoyable. And really, he He's a huge part of why this movie's such a classic, along with that sci-fi setting. And like I said, I just had such a good time watching this movie. It's, if you like Terminator and that kind of stuff, it's, you know, it's right in line with that. Obviously, I'm way behind on seeing this movie. Obviously, it's a classic, so I'm, you know, so glad I got a chance to check it out for the first time. I did have one issue with the movie, as I am reviewing it. You know, I think it's a perfect movie, but if I had to point out one thing, I thought the plot was a little too crazy towards the end. Doug's character, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, we keep learning about his backstory, and it keeps changing, and it changes like 3 or 4 times in the entire movie, his backstory. So it really just got confusing, to a point where you really just kind of stopped caring about his character's backstory and why, you know, who he is. As there's like 3 twists, I think, with his backstory specifically. So that kind of pulled me out of the movie a little bit. But nonetheless, guys, I think this movie is absolutely amazing. That's why I wanted to review it, because like, I just had such a good time watching it on my 4K television. It looks absolutely incredible, this 4K. It's like $12 on Amazon. I thought it was bad. I thought that's why it was so cheap. Not at all the case. It looks incredible. I don't know. I've seen people say the 4K's transfer is bad. I completely disagree. On my TV, it looked absolutely amazing. Probably one of my favorite 4Ks. It's in, you know, it's in full screen, or whatever you want to call it, where it covers the whole entire TV, or at least it covered my entire TV. And that always makes the 4K look that much better. So overall, I just thought this movie was so much fun. Lots of good 90s action with lots of great sci-fi elements. Some of the best sci-fi elements I've ever seen on screen. It's definitely a movie that holds up, especially with the special effects and this kind of the sci-fi elements in this movie. It looks great on 4K. The directing is great. The score is really enjoyable. The plot is very immersive and very enjoyable, and you're intrigued by the plot's concept the entire time. There's lots of twists and turns. There's lots of good one-liners from Arnold Schwarzenegger throughout the movie that are just, you put a smile on your face. There's a number of times I just laughed out loud at them, and that just like made it so enjoyable. And this movie is definitely my kind of movie. I love 90s action movies, and I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. You combine those, you know, those are my favorite movies of all time. Terminator 2 being one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, as well as the first Terminator as well. So like I said, I just love this movie. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I know I think this is only the second time on my channel that I've actually given a 5 out of 5. Maybe the third time. I can think of another time I did. So I think that's the third time I've given 5 stars to a movie. Anyways, I think this movie absolutely deserves it, and I'm going to give it a 96% in terms of a more specific score. Anyways, that's going to do it for my review of Total Recall from 1990. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of Total Recall. Do you think it holds up? Have you seen the 4K? I thought the 4K looked really good. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.